Okay, I think I'm live. Welcome to this week's room review. This week we are looking at a self-described by its owner, a neglected guest room that kind of was thrown together with random extra stuff they had and really hasn't had any attention. People, will stay there when they come to visit, but it really needs kind of an update. So we will get right into that. Look at that this week. Let me see, I need to change over to, okay. So, as I said, this is a guest room. It is on the second floor. When we walk in, the first thing I see is the color of the walls, and I really do love periwinkle, so I'm impressed by the color of the walls. The rug, however, is kind of a dingy olive-ish shade. You can layer rugs on top of rugs, and I highly recommend doing that if you have a rug that you're not digging anymore, wall-to-wall carpet. But layering rugs is a big thing right now. It can transform the room. You can lay it down over that olive carpet and just put something down that'll give it a completely different look. And that will really raise the energy in the room there. Okay, as we keep going, that's a fake plant in the corner, which is fine if you really know that you're not going to be able to take care of a real plant and you don't want to walk it in and out, then that's perfectly fine. It looks like there were some curtains here at one point, but they're gone. So I would either take them down, either put up curtains or add in, I think this room would do great with shutters, plantation shutters, where you could open them or close them and let in as much light as you want. I think that would look really great there. Take away the shades and the curtain rods and just put the shutters on the window there. And the other window as well. We'll talk about that in a second. But take down the hardware you're not using. Okay, the bed. The bed looks very dated to me. There are a few things I'm going to talk about there. The headboard there is the focal point of the room. So when you walk in, really, whatever your headboard is going to be kind of a piece of art there. The bedding looks kind of old and kind of, it's kind of so-so. I would get fresh new bedding, and I'll have some suggestions here in a little bit. And then in a room this size, I would get rid of the footboard and just do a really cool headboard. Here's just a nice little slat wood one. I'm going to show you a lot of examples. This is a tufted one. This is upholstered. These are very popular. You can get them done in lots of different fabrics or colors. Another wood version with just a really textural bedding on it. I really like how they did that. I love this headboard. I'm not so nuts about the bedding, but the pop of pink is nice. This kind of headboard would look really neat along with the shutters. Also, if you wanted to keep everything kind of white, and this one's a fun one with kind of some salvaged wood. You could bring in a lot of colors. Here's your basic tufted upholstered headboard, and as I said, it can come in a myriad of fabrics and colors. This is a linen one. I particularly like linen, and I like how this has a little curve to the top. Or here's a wicker one. This is also interesting. It's neutral, but it adds some texture to the room. So think about your headboards, because they can be a great opportunity. And again, I'd take out the footboard in a small room. You don't need to have a footboard on a bed, and in a small room, it just helps the traffic be better. And again, looking at that window, take down the hardware if you're not going to use it. The light fixture, it's great that there's a fan and the ceiling goes up high. The light fixture isn't terrible. I would see what you do for your headboard and see if you could somehow coordinate the fan. Like if you used wicker somehow, you could tie that theme into the ceiling fan as well, or just kind of coordinate it with it. I think we're going to talk about the bedside tables next. The bedside tables, each side should have one. Right now there's only one, and it's kind of low on the right side. But each side should have a bedside table, because especially for a guest room, you don't know who all's coming, and each person should have somewhere to put their things and a light. I love this one. These all came from House, the headboards as well. I also like to mix things up. I would probably do this one on the right and then the first one on the left. And I would do two different ones because I like more of an eclectic look. For a small space, this is a nice idea. It's kind of an oval, petite side table that won't take up a lot of space in your room. And that plant may need to turn into like a hanging plant or something in the corner if there's not enough room for a table over there. Bedding. I love just fresh white bedding. My sheets are all white sheets. I do sometimes do a cream or add a color to the bedding. This is a very neutral linen. Those are my preferences, and then I might add some color in pillows and things like that. But if you did want to do some color in a periwinkle room, a beautiful yellow, or this in a pink, this is kind of a abstract chrysanthemum, I guess, type look. And that is a really cool side lamp, which I found on Pinterest, and I'm still searching for it. I'm going to post when I figure out where it came from. So definitely if your bedding needs a little facelift, and I don't even use a bedspread either. In the summertime, I do use a little coverlet. In the wintertime, I just have my comforter though. Okay, coming around again, talking about this window. There are two fantastic windows in this room. I personally would get rid of the shades. I really am not a shade fan. And I would put, if you got to have something like that, I would do a roller shade behind curtains. But I also love the idea of plantation shutters in here. You kind of can see into the bathroom here for a quick second. You could also do the shutters in there on the window, take out the shade and do the shutters. And I think that's a really fresh way to do a bathroom treatment. The towels in there, I guess they kind of match something in the bedding right now, but they look kind of frumpy. I would do fresh, clean towels, obviously clean towels, but like a fresh white or maybe periwinkle, the color of the walls, or maybe yellow if your bedding is yellow. Just kind of tie it in a little bit. This is a kind of a tiny picture for this giant wall here. Also, I don't know if you noticed, half the room is periwinkle, half the room is yellow. I would probably do it all periwinkle because it's such a beautiful shade. And I would do like a round mirror here because you've got that lovely window across from it and it'll reflect light and kind of expand the space a little bit. It looks out on trees, and actually there's a vineyard outside, which is fantastic. This is just an interesting wood, either an interesting shape or an interesting frame, something that could go on that wall that will reflect. I love really kind of rustic looking things. I think this one's really cool. But you'd want it to go with what you choose for your bed. If you did a wood, kind of a rustic wood bed, that would go. And then this one's just an interesting shape. This could be a good one to go with maybe one of the tufted headboards that had shape to it. I thought that was kind of interesting. So coming around, they have a nice closet, and actually the top of the closet looks like shutters, so that would kind of go with the rest of the room. This piece of furniture here, along with getting rid of the footboard, if we get rid of that piece of furniture and maybe put a lower profile, a thinner profile shelves there, where you could have books, you could have some plants, you could have photographs, just something that's a little bit narrower so it doesn't block people going into the closet or coming into the room, but still has something there on the wall. There are a lot of interesting options out there, and depending what you do with a headboard, you could do something like this. You could just do a more standard one like I just showed you. This is also kind of interesting. You could fill it entirely with books, or you could do things like magazines stacked on one, books vertical on another, a plant. There are any number of fun things you can do with a shelving unit. Trailing plant. And then on the wall here, you've got a couple of controls that you have to work around. Again, I think that this whole room would do well to be that periwinkle color. It is such a beautiful shade. But I would put like a little gallery here. You can either do 3 or 5, but because of where the controls are, you can't really center one over this area. So I would put just a little gallery wall here of different things. So you can still get to the controls for temperature. Okay, recommendations. Consider shutters in this room. Layer rugs for a different look. It can really transform a room if you want to either just do one rug over the wall to wall, or you could do a new kind of oriental type rug and then maybe even put a flocati type thing towards the foot of the bed to add some more interest. Get rid of a footboard in smaller spaces unless you really love a footboard. It also helps taller people be able to sleep in beds if there's no footboard there. Mix and match nightstands. Have a little bit of fun. I really like eclectic looks, so that's something I like to do. I don't like things to be matchy-matchy. Choose an interesting headboard for a focal point, especially in a small room like that when you walk in and that's kind of your main focal point. Coordinate your towels and linens. Add a large, interesting mirror on that far wall across from the window. And add a narrow shelving in a gallery wall. And consider painting the whole room one color. Okay, so let me come back to me. I think that's back to me. I forget it's big when I do that, but anyway. That is Room Review for this week. Thank you so much for joining me. If you enjoyed this, I would love for you to share it. And if you think you might want your room reviewed one week on Room Review, join my Facebook group, High Vibe Home, and I am selecting people for room review from that group to start. If you prefer not to have your room put on the weekly show, some people just want to get the impression and get the ideas without having it broadcast to everyone, and that's perfectly fine. I have room reviews for sale in the shop section of this page, of this Facebook page, which is High Vibe Home, in case you're watching this on YouTube. So thanks for being here, and I will see you next week where we will have the reveal for Eli's unfinished guest room. See you then.